Hello, everybody. Welcome to our very first podcast for Artificially Flavored Productions. My name is Donald Tillman, and I'm here with some of my best friends and coworkers, and we're here to chat about movies, TV, actors, and whatever else we feel like. We are going to be calling this the Artificially Flavored Podcast. I am joined with my roommate here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Cole. I'm a student extraordinaire. I don't have my community college degree, and it's been 5 years. I like the movies.
Awesome. And go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jordan. I did get my degree, but nobody wants me, and I can just talk movies, so it was worth $10,000, whatever. So yeah, this is gonna be fun, guys.
Perfect. Yeah, we all met in college. We all went to Glendale Community College, and some of us got our film degrees there, some of us got them elsewhere, and then some of us didn't get them at all. And here we all are doing nothing and sitting down recording our first podcast. So this is the first time a lot of us have done podcasts before. So we're just gonna have a lot of fun and see where it goes. So with it being October, my favorite month of the entire year, the only month that I feel happiness, we are going to be talking about our favorite Halloween and horror movies. We are about halfway through the month already, and we've been catching up on some horror movies here and there. Our first topic is going to be, what was your very first horror movie as a kid that you can remember, and or which is the one that scared you the most to this day? So Cole, why don't you start us off?
Oh boy, my first horror movie, I think you could barely classify as a horror movie. It was Anaconda. Anaconda was my first horror movie.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
I
think that was his first foray. Was that his first foray into the Hollywood biz?
It was one of them.
No, it was after Friday, I think.
Oh yeah. It was definitely after Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's true. What, or was it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, way after Boys in the Hood. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so established actor by this point.
I mean, if you're looking at his career in a series of highs and lows, like number one's got to be Anaconda. Close second is Are We There Yet? And then Boys in the Hood is like that's way down there. Yeah. No one. Yeah. It's
So do you remember how old you were when you watched Anaconda?
Single digits for sure. I think I'd started elementary school. I still like a little bit afraid of snakes. I think I saw like George of the Jungle afterwards, and there's like a part where like George, the titular character, of the jungle, like he's like doing the vine thing, and he grabs a snake by accident, and so he made him a snake.
He made him a snake. Yeah.
And he grabbed a snake instead of a vine, and then like it like hissed at him or whatever, and like I cried in the theater.
Aww.
And yeah. I like snakes, like from a distance. Like I like the idea of snakes, but like
the idea of snakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so like a horror movie to you is pretty much just anything with a snake.
No, I'm not like I like the idea of a snake.
We like the idea of a snake.
When it comes down to like crunch time, and like I told someone I love snakes, trying to make friends, they have a snake, I go to their house, they try to make me hold their snake. I can't do it.
This is an all ages audience, by the way, so if that was a euphemism, it's totally okay.
Is this when you say all ages audience, what do you think that means?
No, actually, not all ages. All ages above when you're allowed to start cussing.
Only tall ages, no small ages, but not
all tall ages. Yeah.
Tall ages only.
I'm not saying you have to be 21 or older, but if you are below the age of 18, and you tell your parents that we said anything on this podcast, we will deny it. And we will tell everybody at your school that to not talk to you.
You can say crap on Cartoon Network, so that passes. You can say piss.
You can say hell.
You can say hell for a while.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can say
you
hell.
could for a while.
Dexter's Laboratory said heck. I remember he forgot to return to Dexter's lab. Dexter had a library book that was out too late. I don't know why that's funny. It's everyone saw it. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
We know what you're talking about.
So he keeps a library book out too late. He has a nightmare, and then he's talking to the librarian, and the librarian turns around. It's the devil himself, and he's like, "Welcome to the library of heck." So in the 90s, I feel like you could get away with more shit. Like Johnny Bravo.
Johnny
came
Bravo
out in the
cannot
90s.
exist today.
Oh no!
All
misogynist.
he did was harass women.
Yeah.
God, he be Me Too like up the wall.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Also probably made me gay because he was probably. I mean, I didn't know it then, but yeah, he was pretty attractive for a cartoon character. Okay, so back on topic.
Oh yeah.
Back on topic. We're learning, folks. So what movie, as of right now, would you say is the scariest movie that you've seen? What's a movie that actually scares you to this day?
To this day, it is hard for me to watch Annihilation. I saw Annihilation in theaters, and I was one of I think 30 people that got to see it in theaters. Yeah, thank you. Jordan raised his hand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the other 29 were unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I was very fortunate. I was filled. There's a scene at the very end. Is this a spoiler-free podcast?
I'd say if we're gonna say any spoilers, we need to give a little spoiler alert.
Can we just do a preemptive spoiler for the rest of the podcast and then technically be a spoiler-free podcast because we mentioned it?
I feel like if we're talking about any movie that's been made in the last few years, then we can spoiler alert. But if we're talking about because I'm going to be getting into some 70s, 80s slasher films, and if you haven't seen them and you're listening to this podcast, then you should be ashamed of yourself anyways. So
what if I'm making this podcast and I haven't seen any of those movies?
Well, you're
in for
trying.
a treat.
So
what about Annihilation scared you the most?
It didn't do the jump scare thing really. Or there was one time with this bear thing, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Which is pretty spooky.
Mm.
But the end of the movie, where she's spoiler. Am I?
Just go for it.
Okay,
You're fine.
No, I want people to watch it. So she's confronted, the main character. Who's the actress?
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So she's confronted by this thing, and it's just really existential, and it's just walking towards her, and it's this wide shot, and nobody's running, but it's walking towards her as she's walking towards it, and it's just totally existentially terrifying. I was sweating in the theater. It was this whole thing, and I don't want to give too much away, but I think that was my scariest point in film. Also because I have a phobia of aliens, I'm not a big fan. But holy shit, it is art. It's one of them arts. What's the meme to say? It's a real slow burn.
It's a slow burn.
Burn.
It's really atmospheric.
Our viewers wouldn't know this, but I live with you, and I noticed that a lot of your horror-iest horror movies, the movies that scare you the most, are actually space horror movies. We watched Pandorum the other day. You were talking about Event Horizon, and now we're talking about Annihilation. I think you're afraid of space, is what I'm getting.
I'm not a fan.
It's probably, yeah.
I like to subscribe to one of the I think it's a pagan notion that I'd rather believe that space is just a big blanket and an eagle poked holes in it through some prehistoric antics. I'd rather believe that than there's just this massive universe that's all
we
big.
are 10 minutes in. We already ousted our entire pagan audience.
Oh well.
They're like, who the hell told him that we believe
pagans
that?
don't know that podcasts exist.
So, all right. So you have.
They're too busy watching Sons of Anarchy.
Oh my god!
Like come on.
Okay, so you have a space phobia, Jordan. What was your first horror movie as a child?
It's funny because Cole told me he recently watched Freddy vs. Jason for the first time. That was my first horror movie as a kid. I was in third grade when that came out. I didn't watch it in the theater though. We rented it. I think I watched it behind my mom's back. There's no way I think she would let me watch that movie. But I just remember like really getting into it because I remember at the time like all the kids were talking about that movie.
Oh yeah.
Like and none of us I think had seen any of the movies, but it was like what these two things are coming together and fighting. So everyone like every relative I had owned that movie, so I saw it so many times as a kid. I got really really sick of it. Then later I watched their solo films, which is really weird. But yeah, that was the first one I remember. That's the first one the first one I remember. Like I wanted to watch. I'm like I want to see that. Yeah, that looks cool. Yeah.
And then, well, you just did the exact same thing, Cole. You watched Freddy versus Jason. You haven't seen neither Freddy nor Jason movies.
I mean, in preparation for this podcast specifically, in the month of Spooktober, I wanted to cover as much ground as possible in as little time as possible. So I just knocked out all the verses. So I got, Freddy versus Jason. I got
Ringu versus Grudge.
We did watch that
Grudge.
one.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Surprisingly good. I really, really liked it.
It is a romp. It's a fun watch. What movie now would you consider as the scariest movie for you?
The one that like recently got under my skin, and I think it's the one that like everyone's gonna say today, but it was Hereditary. I mean, because like supernatural like movies don't. I think they're fun, but they don't really terrify me. But that movie, I remember watching the theater being like tense, like really tense, especially when it got towards the end and like she was like cutting her neck with like I was like, oh my god, like it was like so much dread and like it was so depressing and yeah, like it really got to me and it had such a downer ending and and I like that.
Oh yeah,
I need that. Yeah.
I after Hereditary, I kept telling everybody who saw it to go watch Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
Because they have very similar feel, very similar ending.
So I watched Rosemary's Baby in preparation for Mother. Everyone told me to watch that before Mother. They're not that similar.
I have not seen Mother.
It's interesting.
I've heard it's interesting, but I've heard from a lot of people that it's not good interesting.
It's one of those movies that after it was over, everyone in the theater was pissed. They were like, what the fuck did we just watch? And they were like, I want my money back. They're like, where's the real movie? It was one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of those. And the art, student of films as we are, I think we appreciate it, because we're better than other people.
Right, of course.
What if I'm better than the people that think that movie is good? I feel like the whole thing should have just been a stage play.
You hate stage plays, though.
Oh, wait, you saw the movie? Did you see the movie?
I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen collectively enough to get the idea.
No, it should. It has that feeling. It looks like it was the easiest movie in the world to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It really.
Well, I definitely have to check that one out.
Or not.
Or not. I probably won't. I'll probably just go watch Michael Myers again for like the 9th time. Not the new one. Which brings me to my first horror movies. I grew up in a house. I like to tell people that my mom is an actual Halloween witch. And growing up, it was all horror movies all the time. Like, we didn't watch Christmas movies at Christmas. We watched slasher films. We watched my favorite movies growing up were the Halloween movies. Pretty much every time we went to Blockbuster and we couldn't find something, we would rent one of the Halloween movies, 1, 2, or 4, because 3 doesn't count.
3 is so good though.
3 is good.
It's really good.
3 is
Underrated.
Season of the Witch. Halloween Season of the Witch is a fantastic movie. But I like a little more Michael Myers in my Halloween than
He had a cameo on the TV.
Yeah, very doesn't count. I mean, that little ditty gets stuck in my head. Excuse me, that was my dog. We would always rent the Halloween movies. So Michael Myers was always my favorite. The first time that I ever got like terrified of a film was the two come to mind. The first one is Halloween 4, when his niece is getting into bed and he grabs her ankle from under the bed. No, ma'am. I don't know how many times I like would just go sleep in my parents' room after that. And it didn't help that my mom, she's very enthusiastic. And she was scared of that part. So every time it came on, it wasn't like a jump scare. It was like, oh no, it was like full on screaming. From all angles, I was just getting terror. So that part really scared me. And then my brother and my cousin Matt babysat me once and made me watch the entirety of It. And that's a very long film for a child to have to sit through, first of all. Then afterwards, they shut off the power to the house and then hid underneath my bed and in my closet. And when I laid down in bed, they lifted the mattress off of the bed and threw me onto the ground and was like slamming on the closet doors. So for a very long time after that, I was terrified of Pennywise, the whole clown. Not all clowns, but just that one specifically.
Because
Hashtag not all clowns.
Yeah, hashtag not all clowns. I think it's gone on long enough. We can all pretend, or we can all stop pretending to be afraid of clowns for attention.
I think we can too. Society.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a clown, so
yeah,
it's just disrespectful at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were all scared of Tim Curry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, terrifying in Clue, honestly. But yeah, those were probably the scariest movies for me growing up, until I saw Hereditary, and then that one we'll talk more a little bit about that one here in just a minute. But our next little section here, we're going back to the 70s and 80s, a little bit early 90s for us kids here. Your favorite classic slashers. Who are they and why are they your favorite? And like I said, mine was Michael Myers. So Michael Myers was always my most terrifying because he was silent. And no matter how far away you ran or no matter where you went, you could, take the stairs down 6 flights in a hospital room and hide somewhere and he's already there. He scared the ever-loving shit out of me. He was always my favorite, followed by probably Freddy Krueger, just because his movies weren't necessarily scary after the first couple, but they were a lot of fun. And we rented those movies from Blockbuster quite a bit as well as a child. So my vote would be Michael Myers. Jordan, favorite slasher and why?
Well, it's funny because I feel like Halloween the original is like a masterpiece, and I love those movies. But I'm gonna have to go with Freddy only because I feel like each movie, no matter how bad they get, they're creative in some way. Like even the really bad ones, like Freddy's Dead, which is not a great movie.
No.
For those at home, that's the one where he has the Nintendo Power Glove and he zaps, and then it turns into a 3D movie at one point, and you can't watch it now because so you're just watching 2 actors slowly try to punch each other. It's so bad, but it's still kind of creative, and each movie there's something weird going on. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is really good. That movie still holds up.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I like a lot of the Halloweens. Yeah, Hellraiser is good. The first 2 Hellraisers I think are really good, but yeah, for my number 1 it had to be Freddy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Hellraiser, the Cenobite that had the no lips.
Yeah.
The Chatter. I think his name was Chatterbox or something weird like that.
Yeah.
Fucking scared the shit out of me as a child. Oh man, I'd have nightmares of that thing. Everybody else, who gives a shit?
Right.
That little chattering teeth box? No, ma'am. Cole, favorite slasher and why?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. And kind of I've only ever seen I think like two of the ones that count. I guess like I've only seen the versus movies.
Okay.
So the only movie that I watched unprompted on my own was Hellraiser, uh, and I'm a big old fan of Hellraiser. I saw all of them in the same day. I was working at a job where like no one ever came in, so like I just sat down and I watched like all the Hellraisers on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a good ass time. That's very. I miss practical effects being all creative.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And like gory, and I just feel like prosthetics aren't there anymore.
Especially that second movie where like, is it that woman who's like trying to come to life? She's like a skeleton, and like it looks
Oh, yeah.
so good.
Oh yeah.
It looks really,
It looks
really,
really
good.
good.
Practical effects in those movies were insane. Like
Yeah.
the amount of work that went into these old movies, because nowadays you go back and watch a more recent low budget. I mean, for then it was low budget, but uh, it's all CGI. The blood's CGI. It's terrible. But you go back and watch some of the behind the scenes stuff of like the Freddy movies, where they're building these huge, elaborate like puppets of Freddy and these nightmares and stuff. It is insane what they did. I mean, when you see Johnny Depp get pulled into the bed and the blood starts pouring out, that's blood. That's just gallons and gallons of blood pouring out of a bed that they flipped the set upside down. They wouldn't do that nowadays. It'd all be CGI.
Well, the remake was all CGI.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't finish the remake. We'll get to that, but
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're going to get to remakes. And we're going to tear them apart.
if I could, are you still going, Cole?
Oh no, I have nothing to add here.
Okay. I'll just say, if I could also Texas Chainsaw, Leatherface, there's something really sad about that character.
Oh, yeah.
The original movie, I think, is still scary. There's just it's like a documentary. It's just really like slimy and like weird, and that movie still holds up. I watched it recently, and yeah, so Leatherface, as bad as those movies get.
Yeah. You got that sympathetic, almost killer type. I think that's why a lot of people like Freddy too, is because he's got that. Okay, well, he's kind of.
That
I get it.
That real child molestation thing.
It originally wasn't a molester. He was just a killer.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I don't know if
he
that makes it, that
allegedly
doesn't make
killed
it better.
them.
Well,
Yeah. See, growing up as a kid, I never
pick up on it.
associated him with child molesting.
Well, the
I was
remake,
like,
they came out like he's a molester.
yeah, they just full on pull out child fucking nudes, and I'm like, no, what are you doing? We're supposed to like Freddy. Like, there's eventually a point where you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I gotta get it. Like, you kids done fucked him over. Like, you might deserve this a little bit. Like, just a little bit.
It's a teensy.
Yeah. My favorite line from any of the horror movies is from Leatherface. And I think it's one of the newer ones, but she's looking through the window and the old lady's holding the baby and she goes, "That's not your baby. You stole her." We used to scream that in the hallways in high school because for some reason it is just so over the top. It's so funny. I fucking love it. So we have slashers kind of taken away real quick. Two slashers that you would like to see go up against each other. We have Freddy versus Jason. And I think that worked because Freddy talks a lot and Jason does not. So I'm going to take that same thing and go Chucky versus Michael Myers, because Michael Myers is a huge silent killer and Chucky is a tiny possessed doll from Voodoo and definitely not a fucking robot.
I was gonna go Chucky versus Leprechaun.
Oh shit, that would be fantastic.
Like, that'd be great.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, even though we didn't really talk about this at all, Jordan, that was gonna be my matchup,
Oh,
which is
damn
totally
it.
fine. I like because it would just be great, but I've pivoted because my second place I also want to bring up Michael Myers versus anybody, because he would get fucking rocked. Because he's the only one that isn't supernatural. He would get his ass handed to him. That is my opinion. And, like, he's just a guy. I don't think they ever really implied that he has like magical powers.
They imply that he's not human.
Depending on what sequel you're watching.
Let's say I've only ever seen the first one in preparation to watch the remake.
I mean, well, let's just say the sequels eventually get to where there's a cult worshiping Michael Myers as like a demon. So like he gets up there, and they do pull a couple times.
And
Where
then they
it's like,
retcon that.
Yeah.
Like, that's stupid.
Yeah, we'll get to that fucking retcon
He's
here in a minute.
very scary, very atmospheric. But I think like 1v1, if you put him in the ring, he doesn't have that chance. Like doesn't have far enough to fall to like look away and then like he's gone. You know, just flat ground. You know, he can't. There's nothing to fall on. Like he just get bodied.
I mean, he's an unstoppable force
To people.
Well, I mean, what are we? It's only scary because we are people.
Oh yeah, no, it's scary to us because
I mean, it's not scary when Freddy is fighting Jason. It's scary when Jason is chasing after us people.
Very true. Yeah, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of reverence, a lot of respect for, for Michael Myers. I have a lot of respect for Michael Myers.
Oh yeah.
But I also think it'd be hilarious to watch him get his ass kicked. That's my.
I see where you're coming from, and I mean you're not. I mean you're wrong because he's the best. But no, we'll sit down and watch him. You'll see.
He could probably take Leatherface.
He can take Leatherface.
I think.
Okay, there we go.
I
okay,
could
that's
say
a good matchup. Yeah.
That would be a good matchup.
If you could make a plot where like he goes to Texas, and like it could work.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason Jason Voorhees went to fucking Elm Street is because Freddy brought him there.
Yeah.
So we can be like, I don't know, maybe they're meeting up for brunch and like he was late and
maybe they're
like,
trying to
Leatherface
transfer him like from Illinois to a penitentiary in Texas, and like he breaks out.
Okay.
Again. See, I'm giving Hollywood ideas. I don't know if I should be doing that.
Well, that's great because no one is going to listen to this at first. So we have to just make that film before we become very famous podcasters.
Right.
So, okay. So we have our slashers out of the way. We're going to go a little bit more PG-13. And we're going to talk about our favorite Halloween TV specials, including Disney Channel, Family Channel, that kind of thing. Cole, what was your what was the Halloween event of the year for you?
Casper. It's really pretty much the only one about a boy.
Did you hear what the title of the film was that he was talking about?
I think it was Casper.
It's Casper.
It's Casper.
Not a fan of cartoons back when like they had to compete with radio shows. They creeped me out a little bit. Not a fan of the Betty Boops. Not like a huge fan of Casper the cartoon. But God damn it, if that movie doesn't speak to me on levels emotional. I said a second ago that it's the only one that's not about a girl. But it's still kind of about a girl. It's still kind of about Cat.
It's about Christina Ricci.
It's about Christina Ricci.
Let's be honest.
Also Casper. It's also a little bit about
Casper, but also Christina Ricci.
I don't know. There's just it's very autumnal. There's a lot of leaves changing, falling to the ground. It doesn't beat you over the head with pumpkins. It's kind of subtle. I don't know. I think Casper is very ambitious in that they have like probably the best circle-based transition ever attempted since Star Wars Clock Wipe. They like transitioned like a tractor wheel into a spinning donut, and I thought that was incredible. Like name any other movie that can make a weird transition or wipe work that isn't Casper or Star Wars. You can't do it. It's impossible. Casper is pretty much the pinnacle of Halloween filmmaking.
A question, because like I barely remember that movie, but I remember watching Casper and Wendy the Witch. Which was the third one, like with Hilary Duff. Remember that movie?
That was adorable.
I used to watch that all the time as a kid.
We're talking.
I was really young.
I think we're talking about Christina Ricci.
That
was Christina Ricci.
We're talking a little bit about Christina Ricci.
Little baby Christina Ricci. I think
she was Wendy the Witch.
No,
Oh, okay.
No, Christina
cast.
Ricci was the very first
Okay.
Casper live action film.
Hell yeah.
This was like straight to video. The one I'm talking. I
Oh
think
yeah,
the third
Casper
one.
Meets Wendy.
Yes, that was.
That's a fantastic film as well. That holds up. That's also very cute. If you've never seen it, you would enjoy it.
I'm not watching cute stuff. Again, Wendy, she's right there in the title. I want to watch Halloween movies about boys. I want boy Halloween movies. I'm a boy. Where are those?
I mean, it just depends on who you connect with. Halloween or Hocus Pocus is all about a boy moving to a new town.
Yeah.
It's you know what Hocus Pocus you know what Hocus Pocus is about, Donald.
Ladies and gentlemen, if he says one bad thing about this film, I will cut the podcast, and the next you will hear from me is from behind bars in prison. That's not just for me. That's for the viewers as well.
No, it's about the witches. It's about girls.
How dare you? Thackeray Binks was my first crush. Max Dennison? Max Dennison? You want to talk about Max Dennison right now?
I want to talk about some
Honey.
better names. That's what I want to talk about.
Look, this was Disney in the 90s. There was no good names. On that note, we'll go to Jordan. What is your Halloween event?
Said it. I mean, when I was a kid, it was Hocus Pocus. I mean, I think if you're a '90s kid, like it was there, right?
Oh yeah, I've already watched it like 6 times.
Yeah, like, and I didn't know until I was an adult that movie went to theaters. Like, I thought, because they used to like play back to back the Halloween Town movies, and they had like the same production value. Like, it's not that much better, but like, there's just something charming about it, and I don't know. Like, I watched it recently, and I showed my little brothers that movie. Like, they're like 5 and 7, and they loved it. Like, it has aged very well. Like, that's a great movie. Halloween Town, I don't remember them that well. I remember loving them as a kid. I don't want to watch them now because I don't think I'm gonna like them. Or Halloween Town 2, Someone's Revenge, right?
It was the revenge of... Oh, God. I forgot his name.
A scary ghost?
No, it was...
Something weird.
Pumpkin? I don't...
No, it was Revenge of Salazar or something
Yes,
like that.
yes, Salazar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third one was an abomination because they got an entirely new actress to play the girl, and it was just stupid. It was terrible. But yeah, Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
The zombie was Doug Jones.
Really?
Yes.
Do you know what else I found crazy? You know the blonde kid? He's the scientist guy in Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. The
Oh my
bully
God.
guy? Yeah.
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 Oh my God, that's crazy. I would have never made that connection.
He's gotten old. He isn't old. He just has gray hair.
Yeah.
But
Holy shit.
But yeah, that movie holds up.
Mm-hmm.
Cole, you have great things to say about it, right? Because you haven't said any good thing about it, and something's weird here.
He probably hasn't seen it, or he hates it because everybody loves it.
It's not because of Sarah Jessica Parker, right? It's not,
I happen to visually enjoy Sarah Jessica Parker.
especially back then.
I'm a very
Especially
small
back
minority
then.
of
Especially
people.
back then.
She looks the exact same.
More plastic. Someone told me I Red Dead Redemption 2 you couldn't name your horse Sarah Jessica Parker. you were banned. Yeah. Aww.
What's a weird hill for Rockstar Games to take a stand on? The folks
Right?
that brought you Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
You can tie children to the train tracks, but no making fun of Sarah Jessica
fine,
Parker.
but don't you ever.
I would make a similar, I'd put my hand down about that. I'm a fan of Sarah. I'll say it. I'm a fan of Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, me too.
I-
She's stunning.
So is Matthew Broderick.
Is that a thing? I feel like that's a joke that I'm not getting.
I think they're married.
What?
Yeah. Right?
I
Don't. Oh my God. They have to be married.
If there's a comment section to wherever we're posting this, people are going to sound off. All 3 people listening to us right now are going to just lose it. As far as the actresses who played in Hocus Pocus, we have Sarah Jessica Parker. We have Bette Midler. Do you know the third Sanderson sisters actress name?
And I do not.
I have no idea how to pronounce it. I think it's Nahime. It's Kathy Nahime. Kathy Najime.
Kathy
Or
Najimy?
Kathy Najimy. Is it Najimi?
Najimi.
Najimi?
I think so.
I've literally only seen it written down. I
She's
want
been
to
in many a
dedicate.
thing.
Disagree.
I know I've seen her name in credits. I know I said her name out loud multiple times in the credits. Like, how do you
Look,
say Najimi?
I love her.
Najimi.
You know what? We're gonna take a moment. First of all, I would like to dedicate this podcast to Kathy Najimy or Nahime.
I thought you were going to say
or
a sponsor that we don't have no sponsorship
Najimi.
to. I was like,
Um,
oh man.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you see her out of her Hocus Pocus costume, she totally looks like, oh yeah, no, I've seen her in 1,000 things. But then you see her in her Hocus Pocus costume, and you're like, no idea who that is. Well, when you look her up, the first thing that comes up is Kathy Najimy weight loss. So good for you,
I was
girl.
like, she looks really different.
Okay, so girl was in Sister Act 2.
Mm-hmm.
She's in that weird Disney Descendants movie.
Oh.
Never seen that. And she was in King of the Hill.
That's where I seen her. Yep.
Is she Peggy?
Who is she in? Let's see. No fucking way. She is Peggy Hill.
She's Peggy?
Peggy Hill.
Kathy, are you shitting me?
Yeah. No.
She is Peggy Hill.
Told you.
Okay.
I
This
think she's
podcast
married
done
to
changed my
someone
life.
named Hank Najimy.
that cannot be real. We're gonna also look that up real quick. Fuck, are you kidding me?
No.
I wonder if. Okay. Well, I'm gonna look this up real quick. And we are going to. For me, my favorite here. I'm gonna actually pass this on to Jordan.
Okay.
See if she is actually married to someone named Hank, because I will lose my fucking mind.
No, she's married to Dan Finnerty.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
All right. Well, Kathy Najimy or Kathy, we'll just call you Kath, friend of the podcast. Our good friend Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people need to start remembering her name because she is just as good, if not possibly better, than Sarah Jessica Parker and Bette Midler. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The other two didn't have the balls to ride a vacuum like she did. So
Sex and the City was on HBO.
look,
And people
Sarah
had
Jessica
to
Parker,
pay
she's got her thing going on.
Damn money
Okay, and I
to
don't even
watch
have
Sarah Jessica Parker. And who you don't have to pay money to watch Fox.
Well, and I'm not
You
saying
can still
anything.
slap some bunny ears on your damn television in this day and age, and you can go watch King of the Hill. That's all I'm saying.
Look, I get it. Okay, you don't have to yell at the homosexual about Sex in the City. I've seen every episode.
You have not.
I have seen. Okay, real note. Me and my dad watched every single episode of Sex in the City.
Have you
Together.
seen the Carrie Diaries?
The Carrie Diaries.
Have you seen the Carrie Diaries?
Do we need to take a break? Do we need to cut this out right now?
I'm not ashamed to say that I watched the Carrie Diaries. It's compelling. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. All right. I believe you.
I'll say more later.
So Hocus Pocus, of course, was fantastic. One of my favorite movies that they would show around this time was the Scooby-Doo Zombie Island.
Oh yeah.
Was legitimately one of the scariest cartoons at the time.
That was yeah.
Holy shit.
I
Like,
remember
it was
that,
real zomboids. And you're just like, okay. And then they I feel like at one point they go to rip a mask off and they just full on decapitate
took
someone.
his head off.
What in the fuck? Are you serious? This is Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And we just decapitated a motherfucker. Fantastic movie. And we always, we get the Hex Girls, which even gay little me wanted. I don't think I wanted to be with one of them. I think I wanted to just be one of them. And little did I know I would grow up and later become one. So, love the Hex Girls. And then they had those weird cat witches. It was just the all around a bonkers ass movie.
What the Hex Girls? The witch one?
They were in multiple episodes.
There were multiple episodes of the show, but I think they were just in like one of the movies.
Well, they met the Hex Girls in town when they would leave the island. Right? The Hex Girls had to have been in that movie, right?
I don't remember.
You got
I
me
remember
thinking
the
now.
zombies.
I remember the
And,
zombies.
The Scooby-Doo I watched all the time was the Alien Invasion one. That was the one I remember loving as a kid. You watch that one?
Yeah.
Where they met the aliens? Yeah.
I think that's probably my favorite one because like it's kind of a happy ending.
Yeah.
Scoobs has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That's
and
exciting.
Shaggy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
Um,
turn out to be aliens.
The Scooby-Doo Ghoul School was another one that I watched a lot. Scooby-Doo's Ghoul School, he went to go teach, and he taught Shaggy and Scooby, Shaggy in a red shirt, went to go teach at a ghoul school, and he had like Frankenstein's daughter and the Wolfman's daughter, the Invisible Man's
yeah.
daughter.
Oh,
Yeah,
Ghoulish girl! Holy shit!
Yeah,
Like
it
girl,
was like a girl school.
what?
Yeah. But that was incredible. I loved that. I loved it so much. And then me and my mom would also watch a lot of Elvira around that time.
Wait, hold on a second. Ghoul School's about girls. The zombie one, it's about like cat women. I think this is a conspiracy.
No, what about the cyber one? Really, with the cyberspace? That was a dude.
No, that was a genderless entity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've seen years. I'll just take your word for it.
I have no problem with like being inclusive. Like that's a good thing. I'm reeling. What a thing. I
Look,
didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So those were our favorite Halloween TV specials.
Mm-hmm.
I know we didn't talk much about Elvira, but I do love Elvira.
Mm-hmm.
She, again, when I was a kid, I thought I wanted to be with her, and then I grew up to just want to be her. So, Cassandra Peters, look her up. She's fantastic. Our last topic here is contemporary horror films. Anything that came out in the recent years or is currently on Netflix or Hulu. And this also includes the remakes that all just came out. Jordan, I'll let you start with this one. What comes to mind?
As far as like just recent movies I loved, or
Yeah, recent movies that came out. What do you suggest to people to go see or avoid?
well, the one I loved, everyone else hated, was Raw. You see Raw?
I did not.
It's a French movie. It's about a girl who goes to a veterinarian school. She's a vegetarian, so is her whole family. One day, a bunch of guys like haze her with like cow blood or something, and she starts to like it. So she starts eating like raw meat, and that's not enough for her. So she starts eating people, and it gets like really sick and fucked up. But it's also kind of like beautiful. There's like this like nice like story in there. She's like coming of age, and it ends on a note you're like, oh, that sucks, because like you just have to watch it. Raw. I love that movie. And a movie I love that Cole hates, not hate, you just don't like it, Green Room. I really like that movie.
Green Broom. I don't even think I've heard of that one.
It's the one with Patrick Story's a Nazi. It has Anton Yelchin, and
It's pretty much the last thing Anton Yelchin did.
Oh.
See, that's not. See, you make that noise and you look at me like I have a problem with. I fucking
No, that was because of Anton Yelchin.
I liked Anton Yelchin in Charlie Bartlett.
Charlie Bartlett. I had a crush on Charlie Bartlett. Like you
No.
wouldn't believe.
Like nobody saw Charlie Bartlett. I'm a big old fan of Anton Yelchin, but like people, like I'm a big fan of A24 on account of what they're doing for just the film industry these days. It's like a lot of nice low concepts getting made into movies. Please tell me that A24 did Green Room, otherwise I'm going to die on this hill.
They did.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of what A24 is doing for these low concept movies to get made, but they're still interesting enough to keep you on the edge of your seat. But I think like some of it's just like, this is probably sacrilegious, but like, isn't that good of an idea? Like, Green Room, just like I get it, but I feel like I don't know. The stakes weren't there for me.
See, it was terrifying to me because it just felt so real. It just felt like shit. Like you're stuck and there's a bunch of Nazis and they're trying to kill you. And like I was like, oh god, I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time. And there's a moment where Anton Yelchin gets hurt. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but that made me kind of like, oh god. It did like have a get a reaction out of me, and that's what I like in horror movies.
You like a good okay, all right. Cole, you've been catching up on some horror movies lately. What's your favorite contemporary film you've seen so far?
Oh boy. I mean, contemporary. I just said those things about A24, but I want to bring it back and say that I do like the cerebral stuff. I'm a big fan of it. I'm excited for The Lighthouse coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. I blanked on his name because he's only been in 2 movies. If you count Twilight as 1 movie and Harry Potter as 1 movie, he's been in 2 movies.
He's been in 2 whole movies.
Yeah.
You seen Good Times?
No.
Great movie.
That's a good one.
Great one.
What is that at all?
He's a criminal and like his brother's kind of we'd say like autistic maybe, and he gets arrested and so he's just trying to get his brother out, and it's really crazy. The guy's making that new Adam Sandler movie, the Uncut Gems. They directed that.
Yeah.
movie.
That's an A24 movie, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
Yeah, we just saw the trailer for that.
And he's Batman. Yeah, show respect.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him in that because
I just want his fucking parents to die again, please. I don't need to
know.
see that anymore.
I
I'm
cannot
done.
wait
I'm
until
done.
they kill Robert Pattinson's parents. Just.
Mm-hmm.
I really misconstrued that when you first said it.
No, I mean Batman's parents.
Yeah.
I hope his parents are fine. I hope. and
Yeah,
doing
I
well.
think.
Yeah.
I hope they do what they did with like the newer Spider-Man movies. It's like we get it, we know who you are. You know, let's
don't talk about it.
Just keep going. Right.
I'm
We
sorry,
don't need to
Cole.
kill another Uncle Ben. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Cole. Go ahead.
Oh, you're totally fine. I mean, I don't even know where they would start Batman if it wasn't Batman's parents dying. Like, think about it. Like, where do you begin?
No, I get it. I just don't want to see it no more.
True. Yeah.
I mean, we could always start off with like Robin and like watch his parents die. You know, and then Batman comes in and he's like, I heard somebody's parents die. Is everybody okay? Does anybody need to become a superhero?
You know, I like all the cerebral stuff, all the stuff that it scares you because you got to think about it. I've never been like too big a fan of things that are just scary and they're not very suspenseful. So I'm a big kind of atmosphere. So, you know, just stuff along those lines. Like It Follows, always going to be like my favorite scary movie.
That's all the time we have left, folks.
Damn it.
Just kidding.
Big old fan of It Follows, Annihilation, massive fan. Just, you know, things along those lines.
I forgot to mention too, Nightmare Cinema. That was really good.
I don't even think I've heard of that one.
Mm.
It's a anthology movie by a bunch of different
Okay.
directors. There's Joe Dante. There's the guy who directed 30 Days a Night. There's the guy who
Oh, I love that
directed.
movie.
Yeah, so like you like walk into this theater and like you're watching a movie. It's like your worst nightmare, and like they all got to direct a little movie. Mickey Rourke's a projectionist. It's pretty. I'll let you guys borrow. It's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll have to watch that. Maybe we can talk about it on our next podcast if we do one in October again. One of the movies I want to talk about is the Halloween reboot mistake
Which
that
one?
just came out. The new one.
Not the Rob Zombie one.
We don't need to talk about those. Those speak for themselves. This newest Halloween, as I've said before on this very podcast, on this very night, Halloween is my favorite of the slasher films. And god damn it, if that movie didn't just irk me the entire time. They wanted to reboot the movie, but then they just made every single character a reflection of one of the fucking sequels. And like, even spoiler alert, don't worry, it's a shitty movie, you don't need to see it. At the end of the film, when they zoom in on her knife in her hand,
Yeah.
that only worked in the fourth Halloween movie because at that point we had established that that was his niece and they were like related and had the same blood. In this movie, it was just like, hey, remember that one movie we did? Yeah, we're gonna do that again.
It was like the greatest hits. There was
Yeah.
like the bathroom scene. That was out of H2O, and
Yeah,
every movie got like a little cameo.
Yep, and there was even the guy pinned to the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a whole bunch of death scenes in the movie that you just stumbled upon. And it was like, no, you got to see when the people run into Michael Myers and they just have nowhere to fucking go. That's like the whole thing. And like, for some reason, she didn't live in his house. If she knew that Michael Myers was going to get out eventually, and the first place he literally always goes to is his house, the house he grew up in, the Myers house that nobody will ever live in, why didn't she be the crazy old lady that moved into the Myers house? And then all the rumors and everything be, oh, that's the crazy lady that escaped Michael Myers, blah, 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 blah. And then she fucking booby trapped that house. But no, she lives out in the middle of the fucking woods somewhere and it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Well, you never know. Maybe someone moved into that house after the whole Myers thing happened.
I think we saw the house though, right? In that film, I think they showed the house and it was still very much so vacant.
Don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't even remember. I was blinded by hatred the whole time. I really wanted to love it.
However, you know, like maybe she was in like an off season. Maybe the families that lived in the Myers house afterwards, you know, they have year leases.
It's like a timeshare.
It's not a timeshare. They have year leases. Maybe they get out in, you know, the winter, and you know, our main girl, what's her name again?
Laurie Strode.
Laurie Strode.
Maybe Laurie, she gets out in the summer. What she can do, break her lease to go live in a murderer's house? Absolutely not. That's expensive. Even if it was her life's goal to like live in that house, it's fucking expensive to break a lease. She's not gonna do that. She's not gonna break a lease to go live in a murderer's house.
I guess not. But that movie, and then the doctor was just cult of Michael Myers.
That was hilarious. So he put the mask on.
Oh my god! I was just like, this is just too much.
The
So
music was great though. John Carpenter's music.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll give the music. It had the feel.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the same oomph for me.
We're getting 2 more, so maybe.
Well, I don't think they'll get
See,
my.
maybe it was
ticket
just
this
a
time
proof of
around.
concept. If they're
Proof of concept.
Yeah,
They went to development.
Uh-huh. So like, there were some good moments in that fucking movie, like with the motion, the motion light.
I mean, yeah, there was good moments, and like especially like all the throwbacks to the original, where like, you know, she's the one who falls off the banister and disappears. There was that awful shot of her standing in the doorway and then him appearing behind her.
Oh, yeah.
But instead of him moving into the light, they just like turned on a flashlight and it just like that ding strike happens. But it just looks so fucking horribly lit that you're just like, what did I just watch?
I
Like,
can't
it was
remember this.
so bad.
I saw
When you
this
go back
movie.
and watch it, it's towards the end of the movie. They're in the
Oh,
Myers,
is this when she
they're
like
in the house.
goes into the light, like Happy Halloween? Like, is that
Yeah,
moment?
and-
Okay,
but
I
it's
remember.
not her moving into the light. It's just like click, click. This is light just beat right onto the face behind her. It's just like, oh my god. So that one upset me. I didn't even go see the new Child's Play.
I haven't seen it. Cole saw it.
I hated it.
Really?
And I haven't even seen the original Child's Plays, the original children play.
Children plays.
Child.
Yeah, children plays.
I understood everything. I get the idea of Child's Play, like the actual original movies, but then this new one, it's the future, and the only thing in this movie that has this weird 70s stripy aesthetic thing is fucking Chucky himself. Like, it just looked weird, was probably my biggest gripe. I really like Aubrey Plaza. I'll watch anything she does.
True.
Which is probably why I went to go see this movie in the first place. But like, the robot thing, I get. I can excuse that. Mark Hamill that's also a good thing about this movie. So like there were a lot of like good bits and pieces, but then it just wasn't great. I don't know. Like I like certain parts. There was a lot of build up. You get how it gets to where it would get in the original Child's Play movies. Like you can, it's like an origin story kind of for Chucky again.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the robot thing.
Well, that's exactly why I didn't want to see this, because the whole like weird charm of Child's Play is that like there's this doll and this serial killer randomly just like knows voodoo. It's literally voodoo magic.
Yeah.
And he goes into a toy store,
Yeah.
and the toy store gets all fucked up, and he gets all fucked up. And right before he dies, he grabs a My Little Buddy doll, and he's like, "Oh, let us no more," and like puts his soul into this fucking Chucky doll, and like this doll is like completely indestructible. They set this motherfucker on fire. They shoot it. They melt the thing. No matter what, he always comes back. And they made these movies all the way up until The Cult of Chucky. I thought The Cult of Chucky was like a reboot. But no, it was a continuation of the story. Like, that was made in like 2017 or something like that.
Came out recent, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a solid movie. It was actually good. And like, I know that they had a little person in a Chucky costume running by at one point, and that's like classic Chucky, because when they couldn't use a puppet, they just put like a little person in the Chucky costume and just had him run really far away from the camera. The kid from the original Child's Play starts off the movie
burning the Chucky head.
Yeah, he's in possession of Chucky's head after all these years. And it's nailed to this board that he has in his bedroom. And he's fucking smoking a joint with the head of Chucky. Chucky's just destroyed. Like, the head is just sewn together and, like, fucked up. And it still had the same effect that all the movies had. I didn't think it was necessary at all. And go watch that one. If you like the Child's Play movies and you have not yet seen The Cult of Chucky, I will not ruin it, but there is... the best part of any of the Chucky movies is right at the very end of The Cult of Chucky. It'll make you feel really good for the fans of the film to go back and watch that one. And then, of course, there was the Friday the 13th remake.
That was okay.
I didn't bring anything new to the table either.
I was fine with that one because they're all garbage, and this one was just like this one was just slicker. So I was fine with it. I was like, it's a Friday 13th movie.
Yeah, well, and spoiler alert for those
I
who
love
have
Friday 13th, by the way, but they're all bad.
Yeah, they tried to reboot the Friday the 13th, but the problem with that is, spoiler alert, Jason Voorhees is not in the first movie at all.
Well, they tried to get
hockey mask, weapon, he's not there.
Or they killed the mom in the first 2 minutes.
Right. Well, and then the second film, it's also
sack,
it's Kane Hodder with the bag over his head and a pickaxe. So we don't even get the hockey mask Jason Voorhees until the third one. Right. So it's like they tried to like reboot it, and it was like, no. If you wanted to reboot it, go back and redo the first one, because that was interesting. Because you didn't know who was doing it. Right. It was.
I had a good time. It wasn't high art, but it was fun. Yeah,
nothing too fun or exciting. We'll kind of end off here. For our listeners here, we're going to give you a couple films that we suggest watching for this month to get into the Halloween spirit. I have a few, of course, Hereditary and Midsommar. They are incredible movies. Hereditary is more of the spooky Halloween feel, but Midsommar is definitely a movie I would absolutely recommend. If you're looking for something a little bit more fun to watch with friends, I actually didn't mind the movie called Happy Death Day. Did anybody see that?
Yeah, I wanted to see those.
It's a dark comedy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the second one yet.
Look good.
But
yeah.
I took my mom to go see it in theaters, and it was just a good time. It's easy watch, super funny. And it still got those, like, it was kind of like Scream. It had a feeling of Scream, where it was like, it took place in a college, it was young kids, and it was just like that killer's always around the corner. Who is it? It could be anybody. Like, that was a fun one. I definitely would recommend that one. Cole, do you have any recommendations for our viewers this Halloween?
First and foremost, I'm going to say Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Of course.
If
Yes.
you haven't had a chance, highly suggest Casper the Friendly Ghost as like your premier autumn, cozy ass movie.
The one with Christina Ricci as Kat.
I think she was in it. I don't know.
It is Christina.
I was there for Casper. And then, aside from that, go watch you a movie based on a game. Like Hide and Seek was really good. What else? Escape Room I liked. I'm really into those recently. Wasn't there like another movie that was based on a game that came out recently? I feel like there was a third one.
Ready or Not?
Or Ready or Not. That's I meant that instead of Hide and Seek.
Ready Player One?
Ready
that's-
Player One.
Yeah. Well, that's actually funny that you say that, because that's a good segue. Our next podcast, when we get together, is going to be about video game movies.
Yay.
Yeah, that's going to be
They're
our next
all
one.
great.
There's some gems in there. And of course, we will be talking very much so in depth about the Super Mario Brothers movie. So make sure to watch that before you listen to our next pod. But any more spooky suggestions?
Sleep without the nightlight on.
So make your own, like a build your own
Oh yeah.
I
horror
thought that was a real
experience.
movie. I haven't
Live
heard
the
of this. What is that? I was like,
Sleep without
is that
your
a-
nightlight on.
What is that?
No, it's my darkest nightmare.
Oh, okay.
Literally. Just turn it off.
And then he complains that we turn the hall light on because it shines in his room.
Oh.
So-
No, I'm not. What is that? Like
Okay.
everybody.
It's
No,
okay.
the real scary thing is to fall asleep without any media on whatsoever. Just be alone with your thoughts. That's a fucking nightmare for you. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have the Hulus on. Don't even have the audiobooks on. Just turn all that shit off. Just sit there alone with your thoughts 30 minutes early, so your body doesn't know to go to sleep until it's thought about everything it's ever done wrong. That's the spookiest thing I can imagine. So have fun with that, guys.
Okay.
Give that a shot.
All right, Jordan, some film suggestions.
Yeah, around Halloween time, I love Trick or Treat. That's a great one. The Guest. Have you guys seen The Guest?
Huh.
That's a really good one. It's more of a. It's hard to call it an action movie. I mean, a horror movie is more of an action movie, but it takes place during Halloween. That's a really good one. Definitely, I would love to explain it, but I'll do a bad job doing it. But go see The Guest. And I'll say Halloween 3, even though it's not a Michael Myers movie, it loves Halloween. It celebrates Halloween.
Yeah.
That's another good one to get into the mood. So
6 more days till
Halloween,
Halloween, Halloween. 6 more days till Halloween. Silver Shamrock.
dun, 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 dun. I'm surprised that wasn't in the remake. I mean, the newest one.
Yeah, me
It-
too.
Like someone had their cell phone, like do 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 do.
Seriously.
Why didn't it?
Or have some kids run by in the masks or something.
Actually, I think the masks were in there.
I think that was
yeah,
in
that was
there.
their Easter egg. Yeah.
Fucking great movie.
That wa-
Season of the Witch
Yes.
is what it's called. It's called Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
yes.
It was supposed to be an anthology series, Halloween.
I wish they should have done.
But everybody liked the first one so much that they immediately made a second Michael Myers film. And then he was like, all right, time to go on with my vision. And everyone was like, fuck your vision. Give us back Michael Myers.
That's how Hollywood works. Yeah, those are some of mine that come to my head.
All right. Well,
Hocus Pocus.
of course, Hocus
Yeah, just
Pocus.
this.
Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town. All those.
I'm afraid to watch Halloween Town again. I just feel like it's not going to hold up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I haven't been able to find it anywhere.
You can probably find it free on YouTube.
Oh, that's true. Check the tubes. Check the tubes.
Don't check all the tubes. Just the U one. Just the YouTube.
Just the YouTube.
Don't check any other tubes.
If it is on one of the other tubes, you can email us at artificiallyflavoredprod@gmail.com. But we're going to get so much But yeah, so we have talked quite a bit about some horror films tonight. It's been a lot of fun. Again, this was our first podcast for the Artificially Flavored Productions channel, the Artificially Flavored Pod. Cole, do you have an Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anything else you want to plug while we're here?
Oh no.
Don't
no.
don't find me.
It's not that I don't want to be bothered, it's that it's just a collection of bad inside jokes, basically all my social media. So if you're interested in that, yeah, give me an ask. I guess email us at artificiallyflavoredprod.com. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I'm doing you a favor by not linking you.
It's mostly just pictures of his dog and weird bugs that he's found. It's
very childish. It's very innocent.
Email me and
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. Jordan.
I'm at Jordan_Sabarbro. That's SBARBORO. I'm sure no one can spell that.
I'll tag you in the bottom.
Awesome, thank you.
And of course, I am Donald Tillman. I started the Artificially Flavored Productions. We just ended our first writing prompt competition. This will be going up the last day. So if you're listening to this on October 15th and you have a little bit of time to kill, our channel does a writing prompt contest where we basically give out a prompt at the beginning of the month. You have 2 weeks to write a 3 to 5 page short film and then send it in to us. And then we pick a winner or winners, depending on how our funding goes. And we produce your short film right here on the channel. And we're going to be bringing people on for acting and for behind the scenes stuff and kind of teaching all you people out there who've been kind of interested in the trade. Or if you consider yourself a filmmaker but have not been able to find work because we live in Arizona, you are more than welcome to come out and hang out with us, make some films, and we will eventually try to take these out on the road to some of the film festivals in the area. If you have any other questions or comments or anything about that, check out the main channel. There's 3 videos right now. One is the writing prompt, and then there is an instructional video that shows you how to write a screenplay if you've never done that before, and some other fun stuff on there, including this podcast. And depending on how much you guys like this podcast, we will eventually try to get it on Spotify or not iTunes, because that's not a thing anymore.
I think it's just Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Or something.
Okay, well, we probably won't do that because
Amazon Music.
Amazon. Hey, well, if you guys like to listen to us talk, we'll start putting out these more often. We will eventually also start a Patreon page where you will be able to download these podcasts for on the go if you don't want to listen to them on YouTube. Thank you all for listening, and we hope you had as much fun listening to us as we did talking to each other. We hope you come back and listen to us again. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything you'd like to ask us on the next podcast, reach us at artificiallyflavoredprod@gmail.com. Prod as in production, because production would not fit. Last important thing, our YouTube channel desperately needs subscribers. We need to get at least 100 subscribers before they let me make my official URL. So it's not youtube.com/GT7WXLPL248 or whatever the hell it is. Could you imagine if that's what it was? And I also can't make custom thumbnails, so it's usually just videos of me with my mouth open looking stupid as the thumbnail. So please like, share, subscribe our videos, send it out to all your friends. And the GoFundMe page is still up and running. I'll post that below in the description. And again, my name is Donald.
I'm Cole.
Jordan.
And thank you all for joining us. And you have a happy Halloween.